Blog Talk Radio.
You are live at the Literary Lounge with your host, Destiny D, bringing you the newest and the brightest of the literary world right to your ear hole. Every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in, listen up, and learn something. This is the spot for new hot authors who are given the opportunity to shine. Each Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will showcase a new author here at the Literary Lounge. We are taking out the time to give all of our literary friends an opportunity to showcase their work. The New Author Spotlight is a platform that allows us to ask up to 10 questions or more to give you, the audience, the most in-depth current information about each writer in their literary piece. We will have a new guest every week. Stay tuned. Hey, hey, hey. This is your girl, Destiny D, live on WTLR Radio. And you are listening to the Literary Lounge, where our special guest for today is going to be none other than Lady R. She is the author of the new book, My Breakthrough and What I Went Through. And I wanted to give her an opportunity to tell us a little bit about herself, a little bit about her book, where we can find some stuff that she has done. Also, if she has any current events or anything that she has in the near future that we could possibly see her at to do book signings, things of that nature. So without further ado, let me see if she's on the line.
Hello.
Miss Lady R, are you there?
Yes.
All right. Hello, and thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate you taking out the time to do this show. So can you tell the world a little bit about yourself and where you're from?
Well, my name is Lady R. Renee. I'm originally from Joliet, Illinois. I currently reside in Chicago. I am an author, motivational speaker. I'm also an advocate for suicide, and I am also a CEO of a mime and praise dance that dance according to bringing down the suicide awareness. And I am an author of 3 poetry books.
Okay, so the book that we're going to be talking about today, is that a poetry book as well?
Yes, it is. It's my breakthrough after I've been through. It's a full-blown testimony of how I overcame suicide, depression, rape, abuse, neglect, and how I turned it all over to God.
Oh, wow. I'm sure that is a very powerful book. I applaud you for taking the opportunity to put those feelings out on paper. So some people say that when you do things like that, it's almost like therapy. To be able to talk about it and discuss it. That's the first step to acknowledging that you have an issue that needs to be addressed. So it definitely takes courage to do what you've done. So when did this book actually release?
The Kindle version dropped on December 15th, which was actual a special day where my Mind Dance group did a suicide awareness musical. The paperback version dropped January the 26th on my mom's birthday, and it was fully dedicated to her.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about your family background and how this book came about?
Well, I grew up in a single-family home with two brothers, me being the youngest, my brothers being the oldest. My mom worked a lot to take care of us. My father left when I was at the age of 10, and from there I was told several stories on why he left until I was at the age of a certain age where I started figuring out and putting it together on my own. As my mom continued to work, she worked several jobs. So it left me at home with my youngest brother, which is the one above me, and he mentally abused me. He molested me while my older brother was much older and he had left the home. So I dealt with, if I wasn't at home taking care of myself, my brother was there, and it was always trying to find somewhere to go or begging my mom to stay home. And it was when I was reaching age 14, 8th grade, when it finally came out that he was molesting me. I was taken away from home. It wasn't more to get him in trouble. It was to get my mom's attention. She thought that I was just being rebellious and wanted to admit me on the psych ward. But as we sat and talked to the counselor, it went on and came out why I was acting the way I was acting. And several days later, I was removed from the home, went through several meetings, and eventually after I graduated 8th grade, they allowed me to go back home. The case was unfounded. So I held in a lot of anger, and that's what turned me to writing, was holding in the anger, writing was my way of releasing my feelings. I started to shut down. Summer of 9th grade, I had a lot of people that didn't like me, that was hating, bullying, and I was shot in the eye with a BB gun at the time. And at that point in time is when me and my mom relationship became close. She lost her job due to me getting shot and her being at the hospital with me. So long story short, that's when over time, all through high school, we mended our relationship and the molester stopped. But then I started getting molested by family, a close friend of the family. I held that in for years, and I just recently just told it all through the book. In my first book, I only told periodically some of it, but I let it all out within my breakthrough, and it was truly a breakthrough. I tell everyone now that I truly don't look like what I've been through.
Well, I can only imagine, what you've been through, because, that's a lot. That's a lot to take in as a woman. That's a lot to take in as a child as well. Because, I just had a piece that I did about, it's not just the girls who are being molested nowadays. It's the boys, too, being sodomized. And part of me wants to ask you, was this your blood brother, or was this like a
yes,
half brother from another?
We have the same mother, different father, and after being molested so long, that's turned me into a homosexuality relationship, and I experienced the same thing by a female being molested, raped. And so it was either which way do I go? So I lived that life for at least, I want to say I lived that life for 14 years, 15 years.
Wow.
And
wow.
Yeah. And then I just recently, 4 years ago, went back to a male relationship and went through mentally, physically abuse. Well, not physically. I went through emotional and mentally abuse. So I tell everybody, abuse is just not physical. It can come from mental, emotional. It happens, and it's a lot worse than being physical abuse, because the wounds
it's
heal.
All connected. Yeah, but it's all connected. It's all connected, because when you have emotional, spiritual, all of those type of different abuses, it do affect you physically. So whether if it's like them actually putting their hands on you, that may not have been the case. But when you suffer through those emotional ties and all of the, the verbal ties, it does carry weight. Those words do have power, and they do physically affect you in some kind of way, especially when it comes to depression and when it comes to, like, self-hate. And it's not you. It's not you that has the problem. It's the people who are around you that don't understand what you've been through to realize that you just cannot accept whatever they decide to give you. And sometimes you have to reflect within yourself to say, I'm too good for this. You're no good for me. I see that, this relationship is not working. Either you work on yourself to where we don't have this problem, or we have to part ways, because a lot of people tend to stick with somebody just because they just want somebody around. But that's not the only reason you should have somebody in your life. Now, I have been told by older people who said, if you have somebody that's in your life that you really do love and you wish that they would treat you differently, the only thing that you can do is voice what you want. You tell them what you can handle and what you can't. And if they attempt to work on themselves to where they, accept how you feel and they're willing to try to change to make things better, then those people you keep around. But if they still doing the same thing with no regards to your feelings or how you see things, then you have to let them people go, because they're a hindrance. They're a problem. And I've heard a few girls say what you're saying. They've been in abusive relationships. They've dealt with men in a negative light, and they've resorted to women. But it's BS on every hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, females is just as shiesty as guys. And I feel bad for those who think that it's better if you go with the same sex because you'll have less problems, but it's actually just as equal. There's just no kids involved. That's the only part, that's different. But you have to look at people for who they are and what they offer to you. Like, you have to have people in your corner that support you, that uplift you, that make you feel special. Not people who down you and make you feel horrible and make you feel like you wasn't even here. Like, that's not good. Like, that's an unhealthy relationship, whether it be male or female. So I definitely understand the whole gist of everything that you're saying, and I wish things had been different for you. That's a lot. That's a lot. Did you ever seek counseling? Did you ever see anybody about what you went through, baby?
I went through counseling. They put me on medicine. I did suffer from critical depression, and as I graduated school, I suffered from critical depression, and I've been hospitalized several times. I also tried to take my life throughout the situation. I tried to take my life 3 times, so that's what became me being a suicide awareness. I survived and all the way up till like recently, it just still affect me. After I wrote the book, I actually have not sat down and read the book myself, because it still touches. It still hit wounds that's still there. Even with my husband, it still hit wounds. And battling a divorce is like, it. After going through so much, it makes you not want to be involved anymore.
Yeah. I totally agree. You know, when you have situations like that, it tends to make you want to give up. But see, I've learned over time that even in the midst of your own personal relationships and things, if there's any children involved, it's like you have to put all of those things to the side to make sure that you're strong and available for them. And I'm a testament and living witness to that, because I endured some things, and you know I feel that it's necessary that I share that with you. You know, you have to put more focus into your family. I know your babies want you around, and they want you there, and potentially grandkids and stuff like that. So you definitely have to shape and shift your life around them. I mean, I know to a certain degree you want that personal relationship, you want that love from your partner, which everybody does. Everybody longs to have that helpmeet at times, but sometimes it's good to just be to yourself long enough to work on yourself, to be able to say, this is what I want and this is what I don't want. Because I've noticed over time, like I'm in my latter of my 30s, so it's like when you hit 30, a little light bulb comes on and it says, okay, time to get your shit together.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, and if that bulb ain't came on yet, then it's like, okay, what's wrong? Where am I failing at? Like, what is it that I'm missing? So it's like, when you get to the latter part of the 30s, it's like, okay, I should have this by now. And then, like, when you meet people for the first time, it's like you're already gauging who this person is, what they could potentially be in your life, and whether or not if you're willing to deal with that or not. Like, I've noticed that, like, if I have a conversation with somebody and I see the conversation is going left, and I'm like, okay, they're not ready, don't deal with them, keep it moving. So it's like you start to analyze before you put yourself in situations that you don't necessarily have to be into. And then it's like you tell people, okay, this is what I'm looking for in a relationship. If you can't give it to me, then keep moving, please. Because it's like I don't have time for all of the extra stuff. I don't have time for games or all of the stuff that I really don't want in my life. Like, either you with me and we down for each other, or it's like, don't waste my time. Like, I've had so many people who have done that on many spectrums, and it's not just men. It's females that's related, like your mom, your sisters, and stuff like that. They tend to do you over quicker than a stranger will, because they think that you're just gonna forgive them and move on. But
yes,
you have to pick and choose your battles, and even if it is like your family, your close family that you have ties with that has caused you heartache and pain, like those are the ones that you need to let go. Like, I know that it's hard, especially when we've been brought up in close-knit families and things like that, but when you have abuse to that degree, it's like you have to love from a distance. Like, you have to. And it's not so much as love as, like, you have to share moments and stuff with them, or you have to do things for them and stuff like that. It's just a small token of, okay, we related, and that's about it. Like, and sometimes you just have to let people. Did he even get in trouble for what he done? Like, did they charge him or anything for what he done?
No, he didn't. And by me being so young and going through DCFS and being questioned, all the different type of questions where they basically manipulate you. The questions, they try to change the questions around and they basically wanted to say it was unfounded because I was young. I didn't understand the question.
Yeah,
And
but
it wasn't even...
Oh, I'm sorry.
It wasn't even so much to get him in trouble. It was more to get my mom's attention. It was more to let her know what was going on. It drew a bond in between me and my brother for years. He always, I didn't know that he was jealous of me. He hated me. He despised me. But eventually, after so long, we became close. Questioned a lot, like how do you still deal with him after he did what he did? I have a big forgiving heart, but at the end of the day, that's my brother, and I had to find out that it had happened to him. So basically, it was hereditary. It was a family trait. It was coming down. And I ended up finding that out because he admitted to my ex-wife that he was molested. And that was years down the line. So now, as time progressed, my mom, finally accepted and understood and believed it. She never had any doubt. She never said he did or he did. She just basically stayed quiet. And now me and my mom is Bonnie and Clyde, where that's my right hand, that's my queen, and it's just me and her and my kids. But it wasn't to, get him in trouble. I usually like whoever I get with date. I don't tell the story because some of the times, unless I can trust, because I don't want them looking at my brother in a whole different way. Not knowing what happened.
That's hard. That's hard, because, like you said, when it's a cycle of abuse, then it's hard to stop it if the one who is abusing never told that he was abused. That's like an open wound for him. And see, that's the thing when it comes to kids, once they find anything out about sex, whether if it was from an adult who took it from them or whatnot. It's like once it happens, it's like a trigger that forces them to continue to do it because they think that that's something that's normal, even though they may know that it's not normal. But it's like once you open that floodgate, it's hard to close it. You have a lot of young men who end up getting coaxed into going online, looking at different sites and stuff like that. And once they get to looking at one, it's like they can't stop. It's an ongoing situation. And I had that happen with my son, where another little boy at school told him what to look up, and he went and he looked it up, and it caused a problem. And I had to break it down to him and tell him, you only 12, 13 years old. You have no business looking at anything to that degree because it's only going to put things into your mindset where you're going to want to try it. And I said, y'all forbid you try it on somebody's daughter. I said, because it's only going to get you two places, and both of them is going to be dead. I said, because if you rape a little girl, the daddy going to kill you, and if he don't get a hold to you, then the law will, and then you'll die in jail because they don't tolerate rapists at all. And I try to get him to understand that it's more severe than what, just looking at something online, because that type of stuff pulls on different strings than the average thing that you watch or you listen to, because it attracts to your sexual nature and it makes you want to do what you see. So it's like it forces you and drives you to do things that you wouldn't normally do, and it makes you do it to people who you shouldn't. Like it's like it triggers you to whoever is convenient. You see what I'm saying? And the last thing that you want is for him to have those type of urges, and then your niece be there, and then something happens. Because that's how sometimes it happens. They're introduced to it in a way, and they want to try it, and that's the female available to try it on. But I wish that things were different. I wish that people were different. I wish that, you know, people had like that moral compass that pointed them north to let them know this is not something that you do to your blood. This is not something that you do to your family, because believe it or not, I believe that 86% of the things that happen like this happen from family members.
Yes,
and
it is.
And 98% of the people who do it, they don't get the love and support from their family when they try to tell somebody about it. Because, you know, I had an uncle that's dead and gone now, but he was the type of man that was like that. Granted, he never went through a full sexual act. I will say that. He never actually went through a full sexual act, but he did touch and grab multiple females in the family. And and it got to the point to where, like, when, like, I'm just going to be real. When I said something about it, when I told somebody about it, it was like, didn't nobody tell you to get in the car with him? And I'm like, that's my uncle. Like, why wouldn't I ride with him to the store if he offered to take me to the store to go get candy? Like, why should I have?
You don't know.
You don't know. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, why should I have had to protect myself or not go with him? If y'all knew he was like this, well, why didn't you say no? She can't ride with you. Or because like a lot of people be like, it's your fault because you shouldn't have been in the car with him, or it was your fault because you shouldn't have been alone with him and all this other stuff. And I'm like, no, it's his fault because he's a grown man and he knows he's not supposed to be doing that. You know,
exactly.
I don't understand how it's like every time I turn around, there's a victim being blamed. Like they're not going to the person who did the offense. They're saying that the victim is to blame because either they was in the wrong place with the wrong person, or they shouldn't have been left alone with that person. And it's like, if you a child, how you know that who you being left with is a predator? Like, you don't until something happens. But that's why, like, I've focused on, you know, telling somebody and saying something. And I said, that's part of the coalition that I tried to put together, is for if anybody is going through something, say something. You know what I'm saying? That way something can be done. And I said, if you tell somebody and they blame you or they say you shouldn't have been with them or this, that, and the other, don't talk to that person no more because they're not there to help you. They're co-signing with whoever is doing wrong. You go to somebody else and you keep telling somebody else until somebody does something. If they try to sweep it under the rug, don't deal with them. Go beyond them and keep telling and keep telling and keep telling until you get something done. Something stops it. I also encourage any female who's listening to this, teach your babies how to defend themselves so that when a sexual predator is in their midst, whether they know it to be so or not, they can defend themselves. Let them have mace on them or a taser on them. I know little kids don't know no better. I mean, because you got these predators out here that's raping 3-year-old babies now, infants now. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this world is just ridiculous when it comes to these sexual predators because they have no morals. They don't have no nothing when it comes to what they're doing. And I mean, I feel bad for the little ones who can't speak. Like they have a trial right now. A dude is being charged for sexually raping a 3-year-old baby and then gave it 2 different STDs and stuff like that. Like, these people gonna burn in hell for everything they did to people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
And I pray that, anybody who has endured any kind of sexual thing like this, that the person that done it gets what they rightfully deserve, because it's ridiculous that they can't keep their stuff to themselves, first and foremost. But most times, like you said, they have had problems themselves. But I'm a move on, because that's a very, very touchy subject. And let me ask you this: when it came to your book that you released, how long did it take you to write it?
This book, it took me, I want to say about 2 months, 3 months. It took me about 3-4 months. And that was to get through it without being emotional. I just kept praying as I was writing. I kept praying.
Now, when you said it was like a poetry book, so is this like daily entries or something like that? Give me some background on like how the format of the book is, because some people do like daily entries and stuff like that, and it's like a poem a day of what they went through. So tell me a little bit about
I would write at least, like, every time I did sit down and write, I put my motivation on at least getting 2 to 3 done in one day. So in between me traveling and working with my kids, I would take my time to write at night, and it would take me at least all night to at least get 1 or 2 poems done. It's very short, but it's very short, straight to the point, and it has everything that basically I've been through. What took the longest was the editing and the release date.
So who put your book together for you? Did you self-publish or did you have somebody that published it for you?
I had someone that edited it for me, and I self-published it myself.
Okay. Did you find that to be difficult, or was that fairly easy?
It was easy. It was easy because the girl the woman that edited for me, she walked me through it. She's also the one that did my second book. So she walked me through it. So I found it very easy. I find it very trustworthy because I've been through the experience of my first book and the publisher being messed over. So I found it real easy to self-publish.
It's funny that you should say that, because I've had a lot of people who have went with publishers and things didn't go well, and I've actually had to help a few of the writers who were told that their books were copyrighted and they weren't. I've had people who have started out their books and everything, and then it just didn't work out. So, it drives a lot of people to self-publish their books. So, when it comes to your book, is there any particular passage that just stood out and resonated to you?
The title itself stood out. Really telling people, I found myself going around telling people all the time that I don't look like what I've been through. And my aunt, she literally I took it to her and told her what it was about, and she gave me the title. And she, because it was originally going to be Deepest Feelings, but she said, how about you just take it and put it, my breakthrough after I've been through. And truly it was a breakthrough. When I saw the light, God turned everything around for me.
That's a blessing. I'm glad that you were able to find that silver lining after all of the stuff that you've been through. And And it's funny that you mentioned that you and your brother are in a better place right now as far as your relationship, and you don't want people to look at him differently because of, the situation that you had went through. So that right there is a major monumental thing, to be able to move past the hurt and actually forgive. That takes a lot. A lot of people say forgive and forget, but if it's been like that, you can't forget. But you forgive.
You can
to
forgive.
A certain degree. Yeah, you forgive to a certain degree, but it's like you don't forget. And it's very mindful to you in the future with other decisions that you make. So it's like, a lot of people say, well, you're not forgiving them for them. You're forgiving them for you, because it's like when you have hurt, hate, and resentment catered towards a certain person, it takes away from your lifespan, because there's an evilness that's perched right in the pit of your heart for that particular person. And it's like you can't honestly love everybody when you have somebody with that much hate in your heart for them. And it vexes your spirit. It messes with your mental. It's like every time somebody mentions a name or every time you see his face, it's like all of those feelings rush back to the front of your mind. So it's like you have to forgive for yourself so that you don't continue to have those feelings, because those things can work on you physically. That's what I meant by, even if it is emotional and it wasn't physical per se, it does affect you physically, because if it's mentally on your mind to the point to where it's affecting your stability, it's affecting how you look at life, that's a physical problem that needs to be addressed. I honestly feel very, very torn, because you mentioned that you had to go to like the mental health places just to seek treatment and medication and all of this other stuff. That's a rough ordeal within itself, because you're pulled away from your family. You're put into an institution where there's people who are worse than you, with other mental disorders that have nothing to do with what you have a problem with. And it's like you're in a situation that you really don't want to be in. And honestly, my heart keeps telling me to tell you there's nothing in this world that's more important than your life. And I'm saying that with a whole heart. There's nothing more important than your life and how you live it, because you want people to remember you in the greatest light. You want people to remember you for who you are, the loving person that you are, and things of that nature. You don't want anybody to remember you as being the person who took their own life, because a lot of people would be like, well, why didn't she come to me? Why didn't she say something? Why didn't she, tell me? Why didn't she look for help? Like, why she couldn't just, come to me? I would have did something. I would have talked to her. I would have spent time with her. I would have seen about her. So I mean, I know a lot of times when you're in that sunken place and you feel like that's the only way out, it's not. It's not. And I've been in some terrible places. I've been in some sunken places. I mean, between, the loss of my daughter and the loss of my father, different situations that have put me in that state of mind. That has put me literally in the hospital. Like I had a stroke from being that down and depressed from my daughter's passing, because I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't drinking. I was crying myself to sleep, and once I realized I was asleep, I was waking up and I was crying again. Depression will definitely take you away from you if you let it. So it's like I had to focus on my son, because I had him to do for. I had to provide for him. I had to make sure that I took care of him. And that was my mission. So I had to rechannel all of the hurt, all of the pain, all of the things that I was enduring, and I had to focus on one thing. And one thing that I can honestly thank my mother for, she said, you have to take it one day at a time. And you have to deal with that day within itself. Because if you start to focus on what lies ahead or everything all at once, you're going to get overwhelmed. And that's a place that you don't want to be in. You think of every day as it. You do what you can do for that day, and you live for that day, and you live to face the next day, and you pray that you face it. You know, so I really want to encourage you to continue to be positive, to continue to live for something. Continue to write. Leave your legacy so that when you do leave peacefully, you know, you'll have a legacy left behind about you, about yourself, about what you do and things of that nature. So definitely remain as positive as you possibly can. And if you need people to talk to, please reach out. Don't feel like you have to be bottled up or you don't have anybody that you can talk to. I'm always online, as you noticed. So, you know, I'm always ready and available for a listening ear. I love to do what I can for other people, and it's not so much as, you know, just to be heard or just to be seen. It don't have to be known. I just don't like for people to be in a bad place when they had an opportunity to speak to somebody that can speak life, speak positivity and things of that nature. And I'll do what I can to make sure that before I close my eyes, I feel good about the fact that I helped somebody, because I'm always there to help, regardless of what you're going through or how you feel. If you need a friend, you know, just hit me up. And I'll be more than a listening ear. I'll be there for you. But I did want to ask you. And that's what I do now.
I love speaking. I love going and motivate and mentoring other kids or people, adults that going through the same thing. I actually just did a speaking at Joliet Job Corps to over 50-some young girls, and it was amazing. It is very amazing, very amazing. I've been down to the Capitol, and I spoke on the suicide ward, and out of 20-some girls, 24 girls, 23 of them was broken down and turning their life over to God when I was done. So I love what I do. I encourage my kids to tell their stories.
That's a blessing, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be a blessing to others. We're supposed to let our light shine so that others can see the Messiah in us. And I thank you for what you do. Let me ask you this: do you have any events or anything in the near future that we should know about that you'll be attending? Any book signings or speaking engagements that we should know about?
My kids I'm actually going to possibly be speaking at the Dance in His Name competition, but my kids will be miming and praise for that. I will be attending the Chicago Urban Expo. I will be attending to the Wisconsin Midwest Explosion. I also will be going towards New York for New York's Urban Expo. And so far, that's it. I speak every every third Friday of the month. I will be doing traveling speakings with team, speaking to different schools, prisons. We'll be going into the prisons starting next month. So that's my schedule lineup so far for the year.
Okay. And if you have any dates and times available for each event, please feel free to forward those my way so that we can get some people to know exactly where you're going to be and the day and the time so that they can show love and support to you at those events and things of that nature. So also, just to give like a plug, can you give everybody your connects as far as your social media, any website you might have, or ways that your followers can contact you?
My website is authorisladyr.com. It's currently being updated. I am on Facebook as authorisladyr. I'm on Instagram and Twitter as authorisladyr. I'm also on Amazon as authorisladyr. Every website or social media I'm on, I'm up under my name. I also will be updating and informing everyone of my new website. I also have a page on social media as Speaking to One Heart, and it's based on all my mentoring. My books are also available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
Okay, can you tell me how much your books are going for, like if somebody wants to buy one?
Well, I'm currently running a sale on Amazon, on my website now, where you can get all three of them plus CD. For my second one, you can get all of them for $35. My last book, My Breakthrough After I've Been Through, is now for $10. The one before that is $15. The one before that is $15. The CD is only available on my website. It's all three of them are Kindle Unlimited and so forth.
Okay. So with that being said, and with us being like in the last leg of the show, is there anybody that you would like to give a shout out to?
My kids, and I can't give a shout out to author Destiny. She's amazing. She has walked me through so much.
Oh.
My mom, she's my backbone. She's my uplifter. And my church family is amazing. They support me 100%.
All right. What's the name of your church?
All Nations Church of God in Christ in Joliet, Illinois, up under the influence of Bishop Robert R. Sanders.
All right. So if y'all in the area, y'all better go see her pastor.
Our current pastor is Pastor Dwayne Bearfield. He's amazing. He's an amazing pastor. I encourage everyone to come hear him.
All right. So with that being said, I wanted to thank you wholeheartedly for being on the show today. I really do appreciate you. As I say on every show, this show is nothing without the guests. So we really do thank you for taking out the special time to be on the air with us. I want to let everybody know that this interview will be available for playback on our network. Also, it will be uploaded to YouTube shortly thereafter, so that if you would like to listen to this interview, it will be readily available to where you can actually play it back and listen to the whole entire hour of this interview. And I want to speak out to bring awareness to this situation that we discussed today. If you are dealing with depression, if you are dealing with suicidal thoughts, if you are dealing with abuse of any kind, please reach out to someone. And if you reach out to someone and they don't do anything directly about your situation, continue to speak to other people until you get your voice heard and something is done. Do not stay silent. Do not allow whoever it is, whether it be family member or not, to do what they do without facing some kind of judgment, without you getting the help that you rightfully deserve, because it's not your fault. The victim is not at fault, okay? Anytime somebody tells you that you... I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I wanna speak on that. I am available. Please, everyone, you are not alone. I have a business line. If you just need someone to talk to, I can also be reached on my business line, 815-280-3881. And if you're in the Tennessee area, my kids will be mime dancing in the dance in his name, Bobby Jones Gospel Competition, March the 23rd. Be there.
Oh, wow. Okay. And that's an awesome venue to be able to be on his show, because he's been a king in the gospel industry for a very, very long time. So I wish you guys good luck at the competition. I pray that you all do well. I look forward to seeing you guys on TV, because I'm sure that's something that's going to be.
We're pushing. That's our next goal. Oh, and
right.
my breakthrough after I've been through is currently being transformed into a screenplay.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. And you may want to also look into doing an audio book, because I heard you say something about a CD, so that would be very easy for you to turn it into an audio book. So definitely keep all of those options in mind. And I'm going to give the last few minutes to you to give you an opportunity to give any closing statement that you might have right now. So the floor is all yours.
My quote to everyone: if you want to be somebody, if you want to go somewhere, you got to wake up and pay attention. Get your negativity out your life and your blessings will come in. And that's all I have to say.
All right. So with that being said, you have heard Miss Lady R, and I encourage anybody who has heard this message to please go out and purchase her new book. Also look for her and her mom team at the different events that she mentioned. If you have any questions or any comments, please feel free to message her at the connections that she have, or if you want to message me, that's perfectly fine. transparencylibrary@gmail.com if you want to leave an email. 434-228-1168 if you want to give me a call. I'm always on Facebook at Authoress Destiny Divine, or radio personality Destiny D, whichever one comes first. So feel free if you need to get in contact with me about any guests that I've ever had on our show. I'll be more than happy to forward that information along. So with that being said, we'd like to thank you again, Ms. Authoress Lady R, for your time and your work that you do. We really appreciate you for being an advocate for those who need help when it comes to those life situations. So thank you again so much for being on the show. And I hope that you take care, and I hope to see bigger and better things from you, okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Take care, sweetheart.
You too.
All right, bye-bye.
This is the spot for new hot authors who are given the opportunity to shine. Each Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will showcase a new author here at the Literary Lounge. We are taking out the time to give all of our literary friends an opportunity to showcase their work. The New Author Spotlight is a platform that allows us to ask up to 10 questions or more to give you, the audience, the most in-depth current information about each writer in their literary piece. We will have a new guest every week. Stay tuned.
All right, guys. I want you guys to tune in next week, because our special guest for next week will be none other than Miss Uniquely Lachey. All right, so we're going to have her on the show next week, and we look forward to having you listen in. So you guys tune in, listen up, and learn something.
You are live at the Literary Lounge with your host, Destiny D, bringing you the newest and the brightest of the literary world right to your ear hole. Every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in, listen up, and learn something.